Hello, welcome back to Ultrascape. This is day 2 of my Accursed Race coverage. So let's have a little look at the race tracker and see what's been going on. So this is the beginning of the third morning by the time I record this, but the race started at 9 a.m. So we're only just past the 2-day mark in terms of the overall elapsed time. And you can see Justinas Leveka still maintains his gap, and then we've got Christoph Dijkman and Pierre in second place here. Now the leaders here have gone back into Montenegro. Let's just zoom out a little bit. We'll dig into the exact parkour in a few minutes. But you can see back into Montenegro, there's some big old climbs to pass over before CP1. It's a long way to the first checkpoint on this race. One of the things about it is it is quite remote. So there's not many checkpoints. There's not many riders, so you tend to spend a lot of time by yourself. And also the race crew, the media crew, they keep their distance. So unless you're at a resupply in a town or maybe a checkpoint, you don't really see much of the riders, and that's kind of reflected in the kind of the output from the media crew. It tends to be quite kind of long distance shots. So it's quite nice. I really enjoyed it last year when I did it. It feels like a real adventure. So we'll dig into the route and have a little closer detail look at what's been going on in a second. Firstly, I need to say a big thank you to Enduro Bearings. As you probably know by the fact we're on day 2 now, they're sponsoring this coverage. So yeah, I do loads of cool bearings. So I run them in my wheels, and they do bottom brackets as well. I just want to talk about these little max hit bottom brackets today. Pretty cool. They're stainless steel, so they look really cool. But the interesting thing about them is that there's no kind of actual bearing pressed into a shell. So the outer race of the bearing is actually the shell itself, which means that the bearings are really big. So I've run this on my road bike, which I've been running all winter. And I've got another one on my Mason Raw, which I've done Silk Road on, Highland Trail, whatever else I've done on it, but endless stuff. And they're still running super, super smooth after, well, the one on my Raw's 2 years old now. So yeah, pretty cool. Relatively expensive, but the fact that I've not replaced it in 2 years and, done a winter of a UK road with all the salt and mud, I think they just last a long time. So actually, I think they pay themselves back pretty cool. So yeah, that's Enduro Bearings. I'll talk about some of the other products in the next few days, but I know that you're actually really interested in the Accursed Race. So let's talk about that. So as we can see, Justinas is just heading, just to zoom in a bit, he's heading towards CP1. So if we take a little look at Riber GPS, you can see slightly better on the map here. I'll put it on Google because I like to use a little Google man sometimes. So the CP1 is in this little town of Barene. So it's just a hotel in town. But you can see here, it's the Biogradska National Park. There's a big old climb. So just have a look at the profile down the bottom here. You can see there's a big mountain up and down. And before that, there's this kind of high plateau. So the riders basically, the leaders at the moment are heading back into Montenegro. You can see there's quite a lot of road. If you've ridden the Transcontinental race, you'd probably be very familiar with this area. Or if you follow the Transcontinental race, Durmitor National Park has been a checkpoint and a mandatory parkour for a number of years. But the route sort of skirts just below it here. There's kind of wild national park. I don't know if there's a little Google Man thing anywhere. But I got there in the dark, basically, and then a storm blew in last year. So it was pretty wild at the top, just hanging onto the bike, really. A few of the riders have reported it's quite cold. We'll hear from Justinas in a second. He sent me a voice note so we can get a little update from him. But it looks like at the moment he's just descending down. He's got to the road now. So he's just descended down, and then he's about to take on this big old climb up and over. I think this is actually the high point up here. Pretty wild up there. There was some snowbanks and stuff last year. Not sure on the conditions this year. But yeah, that's probably going to be a good hour and a half at least climb. So within the next, probably 2 to 3 hours, I would have thought he'll reach Barene. And there's a checkpoint at the hotel. So that'll be 12:30 local time. So probably about half three, half three, I'd expect him to reach Bahrain. So last year I arrived there about 7 o'clock in the morning. So that just gives you a bit of an indication as to the pace of the race this year. I was about six hours or so behind Adrian Lechty and Alex Kopp. They arrived in the evening. So yeah, Justinas is probably 3 to 4 hours up on the pace of last year. So yeah, it's a fast race. Let's have a little look at the map again, and I'll just play out the update that Justinas sent to me, and let's see what he's got to say about his experience over the last day or so.
Morning number 2. Wow. It was a cold one, much colder tonight than it was the other night. So yesterday I was descending. I mean, you know me. I have no clue where I was, which national park that was. But it was very beautiful. I'll have to check it and find the name. Around kilometer 500. And then there was this long descent towards the Kosovo border. And I found that, bar, something open. I went in there, got a Chewabchichi. And spent I barely left. The guy, the owner, was starting to organize the shots, I mean, they all smoke inside, right? So you are like in a cloud eating, and I was just trying to charge some stuff and wanted to leave before I got cold. But yeah, eventually made out. There were no shots or cigarettes taken. I escaped. And then, slept on the roadside just an hour or something. And started climbing up again.
So there we go. That is Justinas. So yeah, it sounds like it's been quite cold from what he said. I did get a quick update from Chris Dijkmans as well. He again just commented it was really cold last night. From memory, last year, there's kind of a river down here. I think I camped out somewhere down here. Oh no, it's further back, but it's just very humid. You can see lots of rivers, lots of moisture in the air. So if it's cold, it really can kind of bite into you, especially when you're tired as well. So yeah, challenging conditions for everyone. Let's just have a little look now at the sort of analytics side of Follow My Challenge. So this cool little feature that really kind of quite clearly shows stop time. And I thought it'd be interesting just to take a little look at, coming into day 3, so 2 nights of the race gone now. Justinas, he's not stopped very much. So we had like a hour sleep, call it an hour and a half, another half hour stop there, and then 2 hours sleep last night. So he's cutting it pretty fine. But then we look at Christoph Dijkmans. He had a 4 hour sleep, a 4 hour sleep. So I wonder if that'll start paying back further along. Pierre Bischoff, again, really didn't have much sleep. He had an hour and a half sleep, 2 hours sleep there. So again, it could be tricky. And then look into 4th place, Andy Dodd. He's just been power napping. 15 minutes. What's that? 5 minutes. That's not really stopped. 10 minutes. That's a bigger one. 11 minutes. 15 minutes. I mean, I don't really see that's sustainable. So I would expect someone like Andy probably to slow down a little bit. Someone like Christian, he looks like he skipped his night's sleep last night. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. These kind of top 10, there's a lot of guys who've not slept very much. But then you look back to, Arnold Gutscher, Alan Rumpf, he's quite experienced. Martin Hilgers, they've all had solid sleeps, like 9 hours there, 7 hours, 6 hours, 3 hours. So I do wonder if we could see a bit of a mix up further along as riders basically get more fatigued and the energy kind of drops off a little bit. So let's run back further down the pack. So currently Christoph, it looks like he's stopped at the moment. Christoph and Pierre, they've just gone through the road section here. This little checkered section here says it's gravel, but it was basically newly tarmac road last year. So they've got kind of a road descent all the way to Savnik. And then basically Justinas has put this massive plateau between them. So if we look back on the map here, Barani, so he's put this big plateau here between them effectively. So that's slow. It's like 30 miles or so, but some slow going. So he's really forged a good gap now. So he's in a place where he can really control the race. He can afford to take some breaks now. I suspect we'll see him start sleeping a little bit longer. Maybe he'll have a sleep at the checkpoint. I doubt it. He'll probably push on, try and get a resupply at Rozaje, and then head into Kosovo this evening. Once he's over this big pass, he's got a fairly remote section here. Again, it says it's tarmac, but I can assure you it's most definitely not tarmac. There's some steep climbs in there. Fairly easy rolling, but it's just remote and mountainous. And then it's tarmac all the way through back into Albania. So he'll be able to really kind of cover some distance this afternoon. And then looking further back, you can see now there's kind of some clear packs. So we've got the guy's probably contending for the podium. So Christophe, Pierre, Justinas, although it looks like at the moment Justinas has pushed a big gap out. And then who we've got here? Andy Dodd, who we just talked about, not slept very much. Then we've got Daniel, Christian. So they're all kind of, these guys are probably going to mix up quite a bit. And then this chase pack, I think any of these guys, given that they've done some pretty solid sleeping, could sort of mix up into this top 10 later in the race. So we'll see. And then further back, everyone's just sort of getting on, riding through. So a few people still in Bosnia. That's that long flat section, and then heading back into the mountains here. Our pairs, our two women, the only two women left in the race, Annie Dunlap and Hannah Vett, they're together. Actually, I found out one of them is actually riding single speed, so thanks to the comments for that. So yeah, if you do find any, have any little kind of tidbits to send me, drop them in the comments or send them to me on Instagram. So yeah, the race is developing quite nicely. For me personally, once you're through Kosovo, this final bit in Albania is just absolutely fantastic. So Justinas will be there probably tomorrow for sure. The others have got a few more days, but it's certainly going to get really good for the riders and pretty wild. So I thought we'd just finish with a few stories. So that actually the Accursed Race do have their own podcast, well worth a listen. They've got a few clips up on social media, so let's have a little listen to Annie and Hannah.
So we've got some good carbonation going. About blows your cheeks up every time you open your water bottle. We're not to the point where we're putting Fanta in the Camelback yet.
And how are you finding the route so far?
Oh, it's beautiful. Incredible. I'm just looking at that view right now. It's pretty awe-inspiring.
So yeah, that's full on carbohydrates, sugar, everything all the time, as demonstrated here by Justinas. That's the classic 2 Cokes and a coffee resupply. So I'm sure he's feeling pretty good after that. There's a lot of small farms on the race, so you see kind of tractors, farmers, kind of some of the old kind of monuments. So yeah, plenty of dogs. And here we go, the classic, the ultra, the lunch, sat on the steps. Standards are pretty low by this point, eating the pizza. So yeah, that's the kind of the way it goes in these things. Again, sitting on the floor, you just don't care by this point of a race. So yeah, really cool to see these updates on the official Instagram. And yeah, really good to follow the race on. So I'll be back tomorrow with another update. Thanks for watching, and see you again tomorrow.